we're doing here in geometry is circles. I know you already know some of this, but just to go through and be real clear, the middle of your circle is called the center. It's not actually on the circle. It's just in the middle. So that is the center. Radius is from the center to the edge. So that's your radius. And then what do we call it if it goes the whole way across? Instead of radius, it's diameters, the whole way across. All right. So the radius is half of the diameter. Also, just to make sure that we put this out here, does anyone know how many degrees are in a circle? Like the whole way around. Like if you spin the whole way around, how many degrees is that? It's 360. So there are 360 degrees in a circle. So it's like an important number. We'll need this unit. So here is your circle equation. This is going to look like a lot of letters up front, but it's really not that hard, I promise. I just have to give you the formula once. It's x minus h squared. Again, this is going to look like the alphabet threw up on your paper, and I'm sorry about that, but you will be okay, I promise. It's not that hard. Plus, we need to close the computers while I'm talking to you, okay? So try and keep this short. Y minus k squared equals r squared. So everything is squared. So that is your formula. X minus h, y minus k, and then r. H comma k is your center. So that's your middle of your circle. What do you think r stands for? What is r going to be? It's radius. And then x, y is just any point on the circle. So any point that is on the circle, we're just going to call that x, y. So you have the important point, that's that center. R is the radius, obviously. And then x, y is just any point that's on the circle. Basically, you just use that pattern, and we're going to practice a bunch of them. It looks like a bunch of problems, but it's going to go really fast because it's not really any work to it. You sort of just write the answer. So for this first one, your center, you're going to look at what's added or subtracted to the x and the y. So real quick, is anything being added to the x? Like if I cover this up, is there anything else in there? No, there's nothing there. So it is 0. Is there anything with the y added or subtracted? No. So what is that? 0. So your center is 0, 0. If there's nothing being added or subtracted in there, it is literally just nothing. And then because this is r squared, we have to do the square root. To undo a squared, you do square root. So we're going to do square root of 25. I'm just going to throw it out there to see what I get. Does anyone know square root of 25? It's 5. So your radius is 5. Let's try it again. This says x minus 5. Do you see how in your formula it's x minus h? So h would be 5. Like, do you see how there's a 5 there? It's minus 5. All right. Comma. Now, this is a little tricky. The formula says y minus k, but this doesn't say minus. It says plus. So instead of 1, it is negative 1. Essentially, what you need to remember is you just do the opposite of whatever is there. Do you see how this one said minus 5 and we put positive 5? And this says plus 1 and we put negative 1? Just put the opposite of it. Right? And then for the radius, we're going to square root the 144. I don't really expect anyone to know that, but does anyone? It is a whole number. Does anyone know what squared would give you 144? 12. It's bigger than, I was going to say it's bigger than 10 was going to be my hint. It is 12. And let's try it again. Look at the x. Is anything being added or subtracted to it? No. So it would just be 0. And then for the y, again, do the opposite of what is there. So instead of 2, it will be negative 2. And then for the radius, we're going to square root 18. That one doesn't square root perfectly, so I'm going to just come over to the calculator and type it in. Square root of 18 is 4.2. So that one was a decimal. It didn't come out to a nice whole number. All right. Try it again. What do you think for x? And again, just remember it's the opposite. Negative 8. Good job. Comma. And then for y, it will be, instead of negative 3, it's going to be Positive 3. Just do the opposite of whatever's there. And then your radius is square root of 100. Does anyone know that one? I will tell you, obviously, but good, 10. 10 squared is 100. All right, let's try one more. What do you think for x? Remember, it's the opposite of what's there. So 4. For y, is there anything being added or subtracted? No, so it is 0. And then your radius is square root of 1, which just is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. So it came out to be 1. You can always use your calculator, all right? Go ahead and flip over. We're going to try and do that backwards. I'm going to give you the center and the radius. We're going to write the equation. So we're going to put our parentheses squared, just kind of like leave it blank. And our x for our center is 2. So inside of there, we're going to put x minus 2. Again, just remember it's the opposite. You're going to make it, I promise. All right, plus, and then we're going to do the same thing for the y. Just, write it blank. It says 3, so what would we put in the parentheses? Yep, y minus 3. It's the opposite. So if it's 3, you put negative 3. Equals. Now, on the other side of the paper, we were doing square root. For this time, we need to square that number. 15 squared is 225. I only know that because I am a math teacher. I don't really expect you to know that. But you could type 15 squared in your calculator, couldn't you? All right, this one's 0, 0. So I can just put x squared plus y squared. I don't need to have any numbers with those because they're just 0. Equals, and then we're going to have to do 7 squared. That would be 7 times 7. Does anyone know that one? Just throwing it out there. It's 49. Good job. Again, you can always use the calculator. All right, for this one, I'm going to write blank squared. It is negative 3, and remember it's opposite. So in the parentheses, I want to put x plus 3. Good job. Opposite of whatever's there. So whatever's there, just do the opposite. Plus, and then again, I just leave it blank and then go back and fill it in. Put blank squared. It's 8, so we're going to put y minus 8. Whatever's there, you do the opposite. If it's a positive 8, we're going to put negative 8. Equals, and then we have to do 8 squared. So 8 times 8 is 64. Good. Somebody whisper it there. All right, try a couple more. Blank squared. Just leave it blank, go back and fill it in. Now it's negative 5. So what would we write in there? Yeah, positive 5, x plus 5. Just do the opposite is all that this is. All right, now since it's negative 9, this one is going to be y plus 9. Equals, and then we're going to do 2 squared. So 2 times 2 is 4. Cool. One more and then we'll do a different kind of problem. All right, so blank squared, your x is negative 1. So again, do the opposite. It's going to be x and then what? Plus 1. Perfect. Opposite of what's there. Now the y is 0, so I don't need parentheses at all. I can just put y squared. If it's 0, you don't even need to do anything with that. Equals, and then we're going to do 3 squared. So 3 times 3 is 9. Good job. Cool. For these next two, it's just a yes or no question. Is that point on the circle? All we're going to do is plug in 2 for x and 3 for y and just see if it comes out true or not. We're just going to test, and I'm going to use the calculator. So if I plug in 2 for x, that's going to be 2 minus 2 squared. I'm just taking the 2 and plugging it in. Plus, and then I'm going to plug in 3 for the y. So 3 plus 1 squared. I just plugged in 2 for x, 3 for y. I'm going to put it in the calculator and see if it comes out to 16. If it equals 16, then yes. If it doesn't, then no. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen so it shows up on the recording. We're just going to type it in and see if it's 16. That's all we got to do. All right, 2 minus 2 squared plus, what was it, 3 plus 1 squared. Did it come out to 16? Yes, cool. So yes is our answer. You're just testing if it works. All right, so for this one, x is 0, y is 5. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to plug in 0 for x and 5 for y. And we're going to see if it comes out to equal 1. So 0 for x, 5 for y. So I'm going to just go back to my calculator. What was it? 0 plus 1 is what goes here. And then, what was it? 5 minus 4. So did it come out to 1? No. So no is the answer to that. So you just plug in the numbers, test it, see if it equals what it's supposed to. These last two, we're going to write an equation given the center and a point. I'm going to go ahead and write the equation on here again. I suggest that you do too, so that you don't have to keep flipping your paper over and back again. Basically, we're just going to get all the puzzle pieces in the right place. So I would write that down again, or you can just keep flipping your paper over, I suppose. Right? The center is HK. That's our special point. And then we want a point on the circle to be XY. So we're going to label HK and XY, and we are simply going to plug it all in where it goes. So what did we label as X? We're just going to start at the beginning and plug through. What did we label as X? I labeled them all for you. What is X? It's 5. Perfect. Minus, and then what did we label as H? 0. Plus, and then we're just going to do this second part. You're just plugging in everything where it goes. What did we label as Y? Yep, negative 12 minus, what did we label as K? Yep, 0 squared. And that equals R squared. I'm simply going to put it in the calculator. We plugged everything in where it goes. And actually, does anyone have a formula sheet handy? Can you flip it over to the side, not the side we were using on this unit? Is the circle equation on there? I think you get the circle equation. Oh, it's on there? Cool, you don't even have to memorize it. You get that equation. You do not even have to memorize it. All right, so let's see. What was this? 5 minus 0. And then negative 12 minus 0. And what did it come out to? 169 is what we got for that. So now we're going to write our equation. Here's my suggestion to you. We do not need the XY anymore. Scribble it out. We're done with that. You don't need that. Get rid of it. Just scribble that out. Right? We're going to do the exact same thing that we did in all of these right here. We want our equation to look like this. What was our center? 0, 0. So it's just going to be x squared plus y squared. I don't need to put anything with those because they were both 0. And then it should equal r squared. Well, what did we find r squared was? I typed it in the calculator. What did we get for that? Yeah, 169. So this is our answer for our equation. It's not that hard. And actually, I guess you don't even need to memorize the formula because you get it on the formula sheet. Yeah, cool. All right, one more. I've got my formula right here. Let's go ahead and label. Our center is HK. Our point is XY. One more. Just stick with me, guys. We're going to practice it again. So we're going to go through and just plug everything in. What did I label as X? Which number is X? Perfect. Negative 4. And then it says minus H. So minus, what did we label as H? Which number is H? 2. Cool. We're just using our formula right here. You don't even have to memorize it. plus. All right, next is y. What did we label as y? 5. Minus -3. Equals r squared, and I am simply going to put that in the calculator. You just get all the puzzle pieces in the right place. And again, I guess I didn't even realize this. You don't even have to memorize the formula. Right? So let me type it in and we'll get r squared. This is -4 minus 2. And then this is 5 minus -3. 100 is what we got for that. So 100 is our r squared. Scribble out xy. You don't need that anymore. You don't want to be tempted to use those numbers. You're done with those. And we're just going to plug it all in, write our equation. So it will be x. And then what's our h value? What's our x number for the center? It's 2. So remember, it's opposite. It'll be x minus 2, x negative 2. All right, and then in here, it's y. Our y value for our center is -3. Again, remember, it's opposite. So it's going to be y plus 3. Perfect. Equals r squared, which we just found is 100.